Oh, shalom again, my friends. This is Rabbi Sal Solomon with a bit more of our wonderful conversation with the talented and delightful David BROZ, who, as he said, not only, if you can't get to see him on September 6th at the Rubin Museum of Art, remember he'll be at the Emmeline Theater in Mamaroneck, New York, coming up in a couple of weeks, is it?
Yeah, on September 28th.
September 28th. I missed that part. And where else locally?
More concerts. There's City Winery. It's a great place in Philadelphia. It's just opening now, so it's a fantastic venue, and I'll be there on November 17th, I believe, and later on in December. There's a whole bunch of shows.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now, let me also
you can see all the shows on davidbroza.net on the website.
Absolutely, davidbroza.net. Let me ask, you have, since you started in the late 1970s and you've been on American labels, you even got an album, I think, on Columbia Records at one point. Do you miss the era of the big labels and the promotion and stuff, or are you happier in this much more, I don't want to say dissipated, but dislocated era of you get an album together however you can and release it however you can and do it that way?
Well, I can say that there's a lot of merit to working with an organization that provides you in-house everything. There's promotion, in-house, artists and repertoire, people who work along with you to really maximize the potential of a product. And now I've been working as a label myself since 1993 for a long time, way before the digital age.
Right.
But today you're basically exploring every possible way, and every day you learn of new venues, new ways to market things. The one thing about today, what's difficult for an artist, it's very, very costly.
Yeah.
You can work, the guerrilla way, which is most of us work that way, meaning that we just invent our own marketing direction. But when you have a team with you, it's much more effective. And when you can afford, as today, every post that you put on Instagram, on Facebook, you have to actually back it up with funds, which means that it can end up costing thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote a product. But I can't walk around saying it was better then. All I can say is now it's more challenging, and it keeps you on the edge. You got to keep looking at what goes, what comes your way, and find the right one, and then you can't sleep. You just got to keep all the time on edge.
Well, I'm someone, trust me, if you know my personality, you know I'm on edge all the time. But as someone who's been making music for 40-something years and writing your own songs and music, do you ever dry up or have the fear of drying up, or at some point a new melody comes to you? Or you'll read a poem and you'll start playing with it with a guitar or something, and there's never that moment of all the songs in the world have been written. There's nothing new I can add. All the chord progressions have been done. I'm done.
Yeah, you do get into that lull, that moment where you feel completely drained and nothing to offer. But as I know it, give yourself another moment and suddenly everything will change. So, everything is so dynamic that until your last breath, you're going to be searching. And artists, especially, that we live in an age, even more so than age today, where you can work a whole year on an album and then release it digitally, and within minutes, it's criticized and sometimes flushed down. We live under a lot of stress because of the critical aspect of our work. So for me, I'm lucky that I have a lot of, a discipline that allows me to sit down and try to write new music. But I do have to have an idea of which direction I want to go to in order for me to be able to produce. So I had in 2010, I decided to write my own lyrics entirely, and not collaborate with other poets or work on poetry. So I sat and I thought it's not going to happen, and then finally, suddenly I had this inspirational 2 weeks in which I wrote fantastic songs and created a new album. And then the East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem project, which started with one song, but I really didn't have a direction. But since I was working in East Jerusalem for so many years, the idea of being able to produce an album there that would be actually in English and would be able to communicate with the world was fascinating to me. So it took more than several months for me to put it all together and write the music and bring White Lips On into writing with me the title song of the album, East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, and then film it and then make a film out of it. So now, which is on Netflix. So, under the same name, some people, okay, everything I do now will also maybe have a film along with it, a documentary of the story. So you become very active in many ways, and then, of course, you write the music because you're constantly inspired and challenged. Some of the music can be mediocre, so you don't publish it. But while you're working and writing, say you write 10 songs a week, maybe 3 of them are something that you keep and put on your next album.
Well, actually, that brings up a question for writers and artists of like, can you tell immediately when something is mediocre? Do you have to sit on it a week or a month or something, and then you come back to it and you're like, ugh? Or, because when you're writing it, if you knew it was mediocre while you're writing it, you wouldn't finish writing it.
Well, you have to see it for yourself. You feel it when you finished writing it. But for years I was very critical of my own writing, and I would discard or just put in the drawer a lot of songs that I thought were mediocre. And later on in years, I discovered that they had the best hooks and the most pop-oriented or commercial-oriented, and I should have used them, so I keep on bringing them out. You never know. It's good to work with a team or with a producer or with somebody that can help you feedback, and get you feel a little bit more either positive or completely negative about what you work. So you know how to concentrate on the essential and not on the esoteric.
Well, we have been talking essentially with David BROZ. I've got to ask, I didn't get to this beforehand. Still getting a little bit on the dark side, the negative side there. You were in the Israeli army, as you mentioned. Did you see any action there? And I don't mean with Israeli women in the army. I mean,
That was my confrontation with the war was in the Lebanon War in 1982, where I was sent with 2 friends of mine, one a guitarist and one a poet, Jonathan Gessen, and we were sent in to take troops into Lebanon, and I spent 90 days there in the front lines under fire. It wasn't fun at all. It was pretty disturbing and traumatic experience, which I still, when I look back on it, I'm horrified. But that's part of the reality that I went through, and I don't, it's part of being Israeli, I guess.
And speaking of which, speaking of scary and sad things, one of your friends, someone that you worked with quite a bit, and I was a friend of yours, was a poet named Liam Rector, right?
Oh, yeah.
That you did work with. And so you're friends, you've known him for years, you collaborate, you do this, and then, I don't know if it's out of the blue, but he kills himself. How do you reconcile? Do you go through that stage of like, oh, if only I called him the day before, I had no idea, or what do you do?
Well, no, we don't have any clue, including his wonderful wife, Henson, Swanson. I mean, she was surprised herself. We knew he was sick. We knew he was getting weaker, and he was young. It's shocking. It's shocking to the degree where it's very difficult to come to terms with it because it's so sudden. It's not a sickness. And it is like an accident that takes the life of somebody, but this is premeditated and it's self-made and self-inflicted. And I recorded one of my favorite songs that I recorded called "In Snow" is recorded to his lyrics, to his poem, and at least I was given that connection to him, which makes him inseparable from my repertoire, from my life, from my heart, So I'm lucky that I had that I can continue to cherish and bring his memory as vivid as possible through his words.
Wow. Also, let's make a happier question here. You were married for many years. You're divorced. And you're are you dating anyone seriously, specially? Are you out there?
Oh my God! So you read my biography until like 15 years ago, right?
Well, it's not something you were dating a designer after that. Up until about 2011 was the last interview I read.
Okay.
Are you married again?
I got married on September 16th, 2011. That's when you stopped reading my biography.
There you go.
I married a beautiful woman, an Israeli fashion designer. Her name is Nini Lotan. Her based here in New York, and so that keeps me here in New York on edge and constantly producing from here.
And you have three children. Wait, I thought you were in. So you moved away from Tel Aviv because you were in Jersey, then Tel Aviv, and now you're in. Oh.
Well, no, I moved from New Jersey. I moved to Spain.
Oh,
where I lived several years, and I recorded 3 albums there. Then I moved to Israel, and the divorce, and a few years later, then the remarriage to Nini, which and we live happily ever after. I go to Tel Aviv every month for 10 days.
Oh, nice.
She comes with me, or or we find ways to be with each other as much as possible. And so, yeah, I'm very happily married.
Mazel, and you have 3 grown children. Are any of them in music, or what are they up to?
Well, my kids used to sing with me live on the road, and but in the years, as the years went by, each found their own direction. One is a chef, one is a producer, and one is becoming a lawyer. So, and all
Jewish lawyer. Yes, I'm sorry, but gotta give a mazel for that.
Of course, you can't stray from the tradition.
Well, we're talking traditionally and non-traditionally with the singer-songwriter and the man who plays guitar like a machine gun, David BROZ. Remember to go to davidbroza.net to find out where he's appearing, which includes on September 6th, Friday night, not this Friday, but next Friday night, he will be at the Rubin Museum of Art in Manhattan. Plus, if you happen to be in Westchester, you can catch him on the 28th of September playing at the Emmeline Theater in Mamaroneck, New York. Last question for you, David, if I may call you David?
Anything you want.
Oh, well, this is a comical tragedy, I assume. You mentioned somewhere that your bar mitzvah was a disaster. Why?
Well, because I guess I didn't feel I was prepared, which I suppose is a common thing.
Yeah.
And I forgot to bring the Haftarah with me to the synagogue, I guess, on purpose.
Oh, well, yeah, but I assume they had a spare Haftorah for you at the synagogue.
No, actually, they made me run home and get it.
Oh, for God! Wow!
So I did. Tel Aviv was a small town.
No, I'm sorry, but the rabbi's saying HOZ. I was like, go get it, bring it now. What? It's in the Bible. How hard is it to find the Haftorah in a synagogue?
The sweet thing is that he was the rabbi.
Yeah.
Sorry, the rabbi who officiated my father's bar mitzvah.
Oh.
My bar mitzvah and then my wedding. So it was something that had a very, I guess, an important presence in our lives. Though at the age of 30, I couldn't care less.
Fair enough. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question. Ladies and gentlemen, David BROZ has been with us in the neighborhood. It just remains for me to wish you continued success in your music, in your life. And hey, we have some differences of opinions in terms of the Middle East and possibilities and solutions there. But for God's sakes, we both hope for peace. And as I like to put it, shalom to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Rabbi. And we'll talk again, hopefully.
God willing. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, David BROZ in the neighborhood, a man who sings and plays and sounds like this.
I will wait for you in an overcoat, neath a glass clock, as the hours turn and knock by the old hotel in a blue tile bar in the long slow twilight hour. I will take your hand, lead you past the train.
Oh my gosh, wasn't that lovely? Wasn't that a delight to talk to David BROZ on Dave's Gone By on this Saturday, August 24th, 2019. Let me get my paperwork. Just a reminder, as my wife shows, I am Dave. Let's see if that's holding up. Yep, that's me, Dave Lefkowitz, the producer and host of the Dave's Gone By program. I want to thank so much Rabbi Sal Solomon for doing that interview with David BROZ. And I want to thank, of course, David BROZ and who else? The guy who set that up, Mark Gorney of World Disc, set up that interview. And I really, really appreciate his help on that. So yay! So isn't this a cool, if I say so myself, isn't this a great show so far? You're watching Dave's Gone By. To find out more about it, go to davesgoneby.com. And please, please, please help and patronize the folks who help sponsor this program, Hewlett Minuteman Press, the Copy Kings of Hewlett, Long Island. Yes, Hewlett Minuteman, owned by the Torong family since the mid-1970s. Miles and Carlene were the parents. Carlene is still there. Miles passed away, but the kids are running the place, and they also have some really terrific people helping out. It's Minuteman Press, and they are located right on Broadway in that little strip mall just across the street from the giant Petco. I'm not sure if this is new enough because they moved about 2 stores down, but they're essentially in the same place that they've been since 1975. Here's what they do, okay? It's a franchise. It's part of the Minuteman Press franchise. They're all over the place, but you want to patronize the Hewlett one because A, you get to deal with the Torong family, and B, they do quality work, reasonable prices, and quick turnaround times. Let's look at the letter B on the services that they have available at Hewlett Minuteman. Because B for BROZ, we've got badges, bags, balloons, banners, bindery, all the different things that they bind, birth announcements. As a matter of fact, if we have Asian people listening and you want to bind your children's feet, Hewlett Minuteman Press can do that for you. We have blind embossing. So if you have blind people and you want them embossed, this is a place to go. Booklets and bookmarks. After 2.5 hours, it becomes silly time here on Dave's Gone By. Brochures, bulletins, bumper stickers, business announcements, and card holders, and business cards and forms, and buttons. All of that and more. That's just the letter B over at Minuteman. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job. Big or small, they do it all. 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. They're open 5 days a week until Labor Day, and then they're open 5.5 days a week for the fall and winter, and then early part of the spring. So yeah, they will do whatever you need. Hewlett Minuteman Press, they are the Copy Kings. And I, of course, feel like king of the hill, king of Sinai, whatever mountain Moses walked down, I forget. I feel king of that when I do a show like this, having so much fun, and thanking, by the way, those of you who have tuned back in during the David BROZ interview. This has been happening. Like every week, we lose our internet connection. I can't tell whether people are still able to watch or if they've been dropped by Facebook or our provider. So we load it back up, and thanks so much for tuning back in. People like, oh gosh, I can't see all the way up, I'm sorry. But Tony, of course, Lisa, Eva, oh my God, my friend Eva, and Michael, and James, and Steve, and Ivan, and Nancy, and John, of course, John tunes in all the time, Andy, Paul, Michelle, and Martha, all these wonderful people who are watching us do what we do. And we still have a little bit more to do of the Dave's Gone By program. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up, but before then, as we promised, we're going to go back to story time. Bring the kids. We're not just musical here. We are poetic in honor of David BROZ. Well, no, that's our limerick coming up, but kids will enjoy this too. This is the story, Why Bish Fart.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story, remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would, you gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
So you know the story of Storytime. It was, speaking of the car issues that we're having back home in Greeley, Colorado, with our battery not starting, we brought our car in, which actually has been a wonderful car. A car that hasn't been driven for half a year may have some battery leak issues. So a couple of years ago, though, it was time to have some brake pads worked on, some things changed, and the car checked. We brought it into the local service station that we use. And while I was waiting, I was poking through the stuff that they have there for people to read, books and magazines. And it's a good thing that they have that, because my mom was in the shop with her car this week, and they told her it would take about an hour and a half, and it took 4 hours for them to finally get to and fix the car. She's just waiting there the whole time. They can bring her home, but they can't bring her back. So she's just literally killing time, and she's got like a flip phone. She doesn't have a cell phone that she can look at and browse and surf and watch videos. She's just literally reliant on whatever reading material they happen to have there. So the service station that I went to with our car a couple of years ago back in Colorado, we had the daily newspaper, a couple of car magazines, a couple of books for grown-ups, and a lot of children's books, including A Cow for Hansel. A Cow for Hansel, which we read cover to cover, week after week, in a segment that we've decided to call Storytime. Well, since then, we spend a little time every week reading a story. And again, I love this segment because I don't have to do any work. I just have to make fun of other people's work. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even making fun of this. I'm just enjoying Why Fish Fart, Gross But True Things You'll Wish You Didn't Know, by the author Francesca Gould. So it has to do with people eating tarantulas and bugs and horrible jobs that people had in the Middle Ages, like people who had to clean squires, who had to clean knights in armor. And they could take the armor and scoop out, because you can go to the bathroom if you were in armor. I mean, you did, but you went in the armor. Some squire had to go in there and muck that out. And you'd be amazed at jobs that people have had. So they do all the really disgusting things, how tanners used to use dog poop. Dredger Man, remember that from, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago? We had a fish rivers for corpses. That's fun. Let's get to, oh, isn't this cute? Let's get to Vile Bodies. A little skinky inky there from our octopus friend, Vile Bodies. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready, Potato? I don't know if I want to watch this. Okay, Potato, I'll tell you what. Let's take a moment here before we start reading the book, because we're very excited here in the neighborhood. This happens a few times a year. We've never done this on the air. We're going to do this especially now. We've never made this part of the show, but I was able to contain myself because this came 2 days ago, and I've been waiting so patiently, and it's tough for me. But this is of course Potato. I have quite a few of them, both here in New York and in Colorado. Our Spuds Potato. I'm not going to tell the potato story again. I've told it many times on the show, but I've got a lot of these for some weird reason. I'm just going to put them down for a minute because, ladies and gentlemen, a package came in the mail for old Dave this week. Package from eBay. So, yeah, I had to buy this package, but here it is. Something is in this box. Something wonderful. Something special. Let's open it, shall we? And yes, I pulled the tape off before just to be on the safe side, but I haven't actually opened the box. What's in the box? Oh, I really haven't opened the box. Here we go. What could it be? Is it a piano? Is it a new car? Is it PJ Souls circa 1979? No, it's a potato. Ladies and gentlemen, a potato has come, a brand new potato for the neighborhood. Let's see if we'll make friends. They're not very bright, I'll warn you. Hi, where are you from? I threw away the box already, so I'm not exactly sure where they're from. He's from eBay land, Potato. So welcome. And notice people say that they're all alike. They're not. Notice hard shell eyes, soft shell eyes. darker ribbon hat, lighter ribbon hat. Spots in the same place, kind of, even on the tush. Different tags? Nope, same tags. Let's see the backs. This is interesting, I know, to only me, but this is incredibly interesting and beautiful to me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the neighborhood a brand new potato. Got any ketchup? Yeah, I'll be feeding you ketchup. I'm hungry now! Oh, don't you be demanding like that. You're living with me now. Please? All right. Or you know what, folks? I'm going to take just a moment to do this because he is new here and he's been waiting so patiently in the box for a day or two. Let me just give him his lunch. Hold on. Here we go. Is it Heinz? No, it's not Heinz. We just have the local stuff. Oh no, this is corn syrup in it. And what does this have? Most of our potatoes are fed on the better stuff. It's the organic Heinz with real sugar instead of corn syrup. I've never heard of this brand before, but it's red gold quality tomato ketchup. So, are you ready, potato? Oh God, so good. All right. Save and share. Okay. All right, potato. Would you like? This is the other potato here. Need another table, actually. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that's not bad. It's not Heinz, and it's certainly not Sir Kensington. Oh, they really miss the Sir Kensington that we had in Colorado. But maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do like the Lady and the Tramp thing. Hold on. Here we go. Here's our okay. I heard that. Okay. What the hell is wrong with me? Who does this? 710 episodes was a good run, wasn't it? Anyway, we have new potatoes in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen, just in time for story time. Speaking of vile things and gross things that you don't necessarily want to know about. Ladies and gentlemen, why fish fart? Here we go. What underwear blocks the smell of farts? God knows I'm not wearing it. Let's face it, everyone farts, and studies have shown that when men and women eat the same food, women produce more concentrated gas than men. In other words, women make stinkier farts. Present company accepted. Okay. One inventive husband decided he wanted to take action. Buck Weimer of Pueblo, Colorado. Yeah, okay. Buck Weimer of Pueblo set to work to find a way to prevent the odor of his wife's farts from taking over the bedroom. Buck had the idea of using a filter to absorb any bad smells. Okay, I get it. Maybe charcoal in there. He experimented with the filters used in the gas masks worn by coal miners. He put one in his pants, and although it didn't work perfectly, he knew he was on the right track. Oh, I love this. He worked on different versions for 6 years, and then came up with a brand new invention, Under-Ease, airtight underwear with a replaceable charcoal filter that removes bad-smelling gases before they can escape. Brilliant, right? Unfortunately, they don't prevent the noise. Well, certainly. I also wonder if it makes your ass black. And you know, you should see my black ass. So no one could steal his revolutionary idea. Buck received a patent in 1998. Buck's Under-Ease underwear are made from a soft nylon-type fabric with elastic around the waist and legs, kind of like a diaper. Go figure. See, everything is shared. Everything was meant to be. We were meant to put that up today. Here we go. The removable filter, which looks a bit like a shoulder pad, is made of charcoal sandwiched between 2 layers of Australian sheep's wool, 16 sheep. Buck claims that the multi-layered filter pad traps the 1% to 2% of human gas that creates the foul smell, which is mostly hydrogen sulfide, but allows the remaining non-smelling gas to pass through. It also allows the natural buildup of body heat to pass through. That's excellent. The underwear can be worn anytime, anywhere, at night, at parties, and on airplanes, and they are machine washable. The company's motto is, wear them for the ones you love. Why has this not become more popular and taken off? If you've ever been in an elevator with several people or in a department, always in a department store. I'm always walking behind someone in a department store. All right, to be honest, someone's walking behind me and stuff happens. I need those under ease, by the way. Actually, we are over 12. Letting you know that. It's 12:01 in the afternoon, Eastern Time, here in the neighborhood. You're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. Write to me at davesgoneby@aol.com. Check my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and of course, you can drop me or make sure that you get people to watch and enjoy this program right here on Facebook channel, Dave's Gone By. We're doing our 710th episode of the show. We've been calling it BROZ before HOZ, thanks to our guest, David BROZ, and we're in the middle of our story time segment, reading a little bit more of Why Bish Fart. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the question for you. Here's the question. Who, besides me, who was the fart maniac? See, my wife hates this book, but I think she'd like this chapter. Who was the fart maniac? In the 1800s, a French baker named Joseph Pujol, oh, of course, oh yeah, Pujol. From 1857, he died in 1945, had a second job in the theater. Oh, I didn't know he was called the fart maniac. We all know about the famous, no wait, that was Lepetaman. Wait, who was he? Okay, Joseph Pujol took the stage, often wearing clothing that exposed his bottom, and made a lot of money, entertaining large audiences with various tunes, all produced fricatively. His stage name was Lepetaman. Okay, so it's the same guy, which literally means the fart maniac. Now I got it. And by the way, Mel Brooks fans, I think there's a character in Blazing Saddles named Lepetaman, which of course dovetails with the famous scene around the campfire there. His remarkable talents included imitating various sounds and doing party tricks with his farts. Using a rubber tube, he was able to blow out a candle 12 inches away just by bending over and farting. Also, he could even play a couple of tunes on a flute. Yeah. That's putting a sideways smile on my face, if you know what I'm saying. In 1892, he entertained audiences at Paris's Moulin Rouge. I think I would have enjoyed the show more on Broadway if they had that. He would begin with a series of quiet farts, saying that they came from a little girl, then a mother-in-law, then a bride on her wedding night, and he would build up to very loud ones that could go on for about 10 seconds. He completed the performance by mimicking the sound of cannon fire, producing an impressively loud, booming noise. Oh, man. And I do fondly remember there was a guy that Howard Stern had on during their video era who would come on and he would be able to take air. Somehow he did this. He took air in and he was able to expel it. So there was some smell, apparently. They had Boy Gary on with a mask, holding the microphone up to this poor fellow's ass. Not poor fellow at all, lucky fellow's ass. And he couldn't fart in tune, but he could do different blasts and different time sequences and progressions. It was really a magnificent thing. I think there was also a farter in the Gong Show movie. Just saying, it's not a completely lost art, ladies and gentlemen, or a lost fart. By the way, I'm assuming this is also going to be about farts. I'm not sure. But the question is, what were Waterloo teeth? Oh boy, I don't know. We're going to find out. What were Waterloo teeth? Now, I know there's an old phrase, my back teeth were floating when someone has to really go to the bathroom. But let's see. At the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, so many lives were lost that there were rich pickings for the British troops when the battle was over. The dead were stripped of anything of value, including their teeth. Such a vast number of teeth were extracted from the dead at Waterloo that many years afterwards, dentures were known as Waterloo teeth. A tooth transplant involved taking a tooth from one person and transplanting it into the head of another person, and many people unwittingly wore teeth extracted from dead soldiers. Tooth transplants plummeted in popularity when it was discovered that infections could be transmitted in this way. One assumes they would boil them and pull out the old pulp, which is actually more disgusting than anything in this book anyway. One more little bit of a mini chapter here from the book Why Fish Farts. Which disease caused its victims' organs to liquefy? Which disease caused this? It was the Black Death. I was just thinking about the Black Death this week. I have no idea why the bubonic plague popped into my head. And I'm no reason, but here we are talking about it. It was between 1348 to 51, the worst plague history has ever recorded. Its name came from the black swellings found on many of its victims, and other symptoms included pain, fever, and vomiting blood. So, I think I would have enjoyed Moulin Rouge if they had that in there too. The plague caused internal bleeding, and in the final days, the victims' vital organs began turning to liquid and rotting away. Mercifully, death would come soon after. Once a person contracted the plague, recovery was rare, although few people did actually survive the disease. The Black Death was responsible for killing up to half the people in Europe, and it struck England in 1348. It was not surprisingly worst in the cities, where there was enormous overcrowding and poor hygiene and sanitation. When the plague reached London, tens of thousands of people died, nearly half the city's population. Over the period of the Black Death, England went from 6 million to 3 million people. So many perished that the graveyards were full and corpses had to be hurled into fields. That's sanitary. Plague epidemics occurred regularly across Europe following the Black Death, and the last outbreak of plague in England was the Great Plague of 1665. As in 1348, it spread quickly and killed a bunch of people. The plague's victims developed painful, pus-filled swellings, or buboes, and I must admit, I do love the word buboes. Will you kindly say it with me? Say it with me, please. Buboes. I love words. I love Fort Lupton. That's a word I love. I now love buboes as well. They really, if you got those, you were going to die. To help ensure victims did not pass on the infection, the British government forced them to stay in their houses, and their doors were nailed shut and marked with a large red cross. Searchers were paid to remove corpses of victims from homes and walked around streets yelling, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!" Monty Python fans take note. As more people became sick, the rich left the city, and most of the doctors and clergy went with them. On the other hand, the poor were not allowed to leave, shades of bat out of hell, right? As they were seen as the carriers of disease and could infect others. The Great Plague claimed about 100,000 victims, and they believe, experts do, that that the plague was caused by a bacterium called Yersinia pestis, which lived inside fleas. The fleas were carried by black rats, and when the fleas bit a person, it would transfer the bacteria and therefore the plague into the victim. Some experts, though, take a very different view, and they say that because the Black Death spread so quickly, it might have been caused by a virus passing person to person, like the disease Ebola, which also causes massive internal bleeding. Everybody having a good lunchtime, ladies and gentlemen? Well, anyway, not everything's funny on this show, certainly, or in this book, Why Fish Fart. We went from the delights of underwear that traps fart smell into the horrors of the Black Death. Boy, oh boy, isn't that days gone by kind of fun. Anyway, thanks so much for all the people who are tuning in so late into the program, because we're supposed to be done by noon Eastern time. And yet here we are. We've got so much to do, so much to finish. Welcome, by the way, to Paul and Michelle and Martha and Karen and Ian, our friend in the neighborhood, Jeffrey and Praveen. Praveen is asking, what is the topic today? Well, we've had bunches of topics on the show. We were talking, Rabbi Saul was to musician David BROZ. We went to Gritty Crimes and Old Times earlier in the show. We did Inside Broadway. I reviewed Bad Out of Hell and talked about Broadway theater. What else did we do? We did our advertisements for Hewlett Minuteman Press and TotalTheater.com and Performing Arts Insider. What else? We've done a lot, right? Talked to my wife for a little bit. We had a lot of fun. So thanks for the thumbs up. We're not quite done because I did mention that Rabbi Saul had a great time talking with David BROZ. So first of all, a reminder that you can see David BROZ September 6th, Friday night. He will be playing at the Rubin Museum of Art. They have a lot of concerts there. It's Friday night, September 6th, with David BROZ at the Rubin Museum in Midtown Manhattan. Go to davidbroza.net for information about that, information about his other concerts and his touring, as well as all his albums. He's got more than a dozen, going back to the late 70s. So it's davidbroza.net. And also, thank you so much to Rabbi Saul Solomon for doing that interview. Now, Rabbi Saul, he's been a busy little Jew. Well, first of all, he's got his website, shalomdammit.com. That is the place to read and hear his rabbinical reflections, his mini sermons, also the hilarious TV show that he did for Long Island cable TV about 10 years ago now. He did 10 episodes of Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Saul Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour. I think David BROZ would appreciate that title. 10 wonderful half-hour episodes. They're all, the links are right there. They're on YouTube. Go to shalomdammit.com. And of course, you can go there to watch the long version, the nascent, incipient, early version of his stage show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon. The link to the YouTube entire show is there. 2 hours of comedy and music with Rabbi Saul Solomon. It's all at Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And we thank the rabbi so much for doing that. Now, Rabbi Saul is, of course, a longtime friend of the neighborhood. He was on our first episode. David BROZ is a brand new friend of the neighborhood. Well, we have a bunch of other people who've appeared on the show in months and years past, and we like to check in on them and see what they're up to and how they're doing. We call this segment, if I could just find the paper that it's on, the friends, hang with me, folks, here we go. The many, 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 many terrific friends of the neighborhood. So yeah, let's keep tabs on what people who've been on this program in the past are doing now and in the future. For example, tomorrow, Sunday, August 25th, you can see 2 musical friends of the neighborhood. I'm talking about Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary. He is on a double bill with Melanie. My God, Melanie and Peter Yarrow together. That's at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead tomorrow. Or someone we're very proud who's been on the show, Judy Collins. She is going to be at West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. That is also tomorrow. So a big day for Long Islanders who love that 60s, 70s kind of music. From this week, August 31st through early September, there's a musical that they're trying out at the Public Theater called Hercules. Hercules by Alan Menken, our friend, very proud. He's done tons of musical theater with David Zippel. This is called Hercules. It's at the Delacorte Theater, Shakespeare in the Park. So this is a big deal for them because usually, Shakespeare in the Park does Shakespeare. And here they're putting out a new musical, really cool. So that's happening from August 31st through early September. Is it really just early September? Well, I guess it has to be because it's Shakespeare outside in the park at the Delacorte. And go see the Delacorte now because they're going to be redoing it. They're going to close it for like a year and a half to remake the whole stage, the whole backstage area and everywhere. So this is getting to be your last chance in a while to do Shakespeare in the Park. from Lincoln's from the Public Theater. Excuse me. Now through tomorrow. Oh boy, yeah, you just have another day to catch Alice Ripley in the solo show, The Pink Unicorn. That is at the Cell Theater. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't get to see this, and I wish I did. Steve Ross and Katie Sullivan are doing a Noel Coward tribute called Love Noel at the Irish Repertory Theater on West 22nd Street. And that show features a set by James Morgan. So we have a double Friends of the Neighborhood on that show. Penny Arcade is doing her show Longing Last. It's so hard after 3 hours to keep talking, but it's Penny Arcade's Longing Lasts Longer at Joe's Pub on Lafayette Street. That is definitely go. She was a wonderful guest, so definitely check her out. Provocateur and comedian Penny Arcade. Playing now through the end of August, A White Man's Guide to Rikers Island is at the Producers Club. It was recently extended, so you have a bit more time to see it. A White Man's Guide to Rikers Island, directed by Thomas G. Waits, off Broadway at the Producers Club. I think it's off Broadway at the Producers Club. Sally Mays, our very talented singer and actress friend of the neighborhood. She is in a musical called Sidekicked at New Jersey's Cape May stage. She plays Vivian Vance. So it's a story of this woman who was on the Lucille I Love Lucy. Check that out if you're in New Jersey. See, David BROZ should still be in New Jersey, so he can go see Sally Mays in this show called Sidekicked. What else? Oh, excuse me. I should have mentioned this. White Man's Guide to Rikers Island, directed by Thomas G. Waits. That is extended to the end of September. So not just the end of August, to actually have a whole more, like a month and a half, to see that show at the Producers Club. On Broadway, through the end of October only, Carole King musical, Beautiful, and it's a very, very good show. This is at the Stephen Sondheim Theater, booked by our friend Douglas McGrath. At the Walter Kerr Theater, watch Andre DeShields. He's brilliant, and he won the Tony for Hadestown. Come From Away is written by Irene Sankoff and David Hein. That's at the Schoenfeld Theater. Danny Burston is terrific in Moulin Rouge at the Hirschfeld Theater. And David Yazbek wrote the score for Tootsie at the Marquis Theater, which also features our friend Julie Holston. Dakin Matthews is in To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh! To Kill a Mockingbird features our friend Dakin Matthews. Thank you very much. I got that out. It's at the Schubert Theater. And Hamilton features Daniel Breaker at the Richard Rogers Theater. Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. Go check out StageBuddy.com for news about New York nightlife. StageBuddy.com, which was founded by our friend Evan Seplow, and Dr. Demento, doing new and old Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com. Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake are doing their show, Two on the Aisle, on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. That's a cable public access TV show where they review theater, as does Eva Heinemann, who's just been tuning in, as a matter of fact. Her show, High Drama, you can find out about on her Facebook page, High Drama and Two on the Aisle, if you love theater like I do. Bob Cudmore doing podcasts about upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. David Kenny, he is still doing his radio show of cabaret music and show tunes. It's called Everything Old is New Again, Sunday nights on WBAI Radio. And check the pages of the New York Post 2 or 3 times a week to read the writings about sports and media coverage by Phil Mushnick. And those, my friends, are the friends of the neighborhood. So we've done poetic, and I didn't want to fade that out. I just want to stop it because we're 3 hours and 20 minutes into the show already. What else do we have left to do? Something quick, something short. And in honor of David BROZ this week, something versified and poetical. I am, of course, talking about the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. This is where every week I do a short poem of about 5 lines about a town or place or municipality in Colorado. And this week, Oh my goodness, we're on a rock solid foundation this time because we're going to be going to Marble, Colorado.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado.
Rocky Mountain High, indeed. We're going to Colorado for our Colorado limerick of the dam. And as I said, Marble. Who knew? Who knew there was a Marble, Colorado? But there is. It's a small town with a population of just over 100 in Gunnison County, so that's sort of south of Greeley, where we had been. It was established in 1899, and why was it named Marble? Well, it's got a really well-known and beautiful marble quarry, from whence came the Lincoln Memorial and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So when people go, it's apparently as beautiful and perfect and pure marble as you even get in Italy and in places in Europe, this particular spot in Colorado. So I decided to write a little sick poem, a limerick, about Marble, Colorado. Here we go. A weightlifting wonder from Marble put 600 pounds on his barbell. When hoisting that mass, he ruptured his ass. He's fine, but the cleanup was horrible. I really like that one. And look how appropriate this diaper turned out to be, ladies and gentlemen. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned here on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream. So glad that you've tuned in today for our 710th episode of the show. We've been calling it BROZ before HOZ in honor of David BROZ, our fine guest. Go to davidbroza.net to find out about his albums and about his touring stuff. Do check out my website, davesgoneby.com, to find out more about the show and to hear all our archives. Because so many people, when you do a show that's 3 or 4 hours long, not everybody, even though you should, not everybody can stay tuned the whole time. And people sleep late and they're tuning in on the West Coast where we're starting at 6 in the morning. I get it. Go to our archives. They're all on YouTube, and they're also, even better, go to the website, davesgoneby.com. Thousands of hours of what we do in the neighborhood, all the interviews, all the songs, all the parody songs that I do, all the grilly crimes and old times, the wretched puns of destiny that we were doing a couple of years back, and of course our special guests, including a separate archive where we've extracted the interviews. So if you're just interested in some of the kinds of people that we mentioned as friends of the neighborhood, you can go right there. Anyway, it's all at davesgoneby.com. Remember, you can also email me, davesgoneby@aol.com, and check out my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. By all means, bring people to this Facebook site and tell them, hey, this is where it happens every Saturday, 9 until noon or thereabouts. Facebook.com/Dave's Gone By. And we'd love to have more people like us and follow us and see us first. And of course, join us and enjoy the show every week. By the way, speaking of the weeks ahead, we've already got some wonderful guests lined up, coming up. So I'm not sure what's happening next week, but I can tell you with about a 99% degree of certainty that on September 7th, our Saturday morning episode, 2 weeks from today, we will feature not a blueberry or a raspberry or, thank goodness, a dingleberry. See, it all ties together. No, we will have a tuckerberry. What, might you ask, is a tuckerberry? Well, if you were watching L.A. Law back in the day, you remember that 2 of the stars of the show were Michael Tucker and Jill Eikenberry. They're a married couple, and as everybody always says, this sort of opposites attract thing. He was a short, kind of lumpy-dumpy, but kind of cute, balding Jew. And she was a very good-looking, tallish, shiksa goddess type Jill Eikenberry, right? Both actors. And they tried very often to act together. What do you know? They were cast together in this show as 2 lawyers, as a couple. with a great sexual attraction for each other. They really got along well, and audiences loved them. They were among the most popular characters on that show. So we are going to have the Tuckerberry in the neighborhood on September 7th, because Michael Tucker has written a play that is going to be done. I'm pretty sure it's at 59 theaters in September. He's written a comedy about three couples, three different age ranges, and their friendships and their long-term marriages, and of course a monkey wrench is thrown in. He'll be talking to us about his play. It's called Fern Hill, and Jill Eikenberry is in it. So they're not acting together. He wrote it. She's in it. It's called Fern Hill, but Michael Tucker and Jill Eikenberry will be talking about it together with us and with Rabbi Saul in 2 weeks on the program. And then scheduled for still about a month from now, we're not 100% sure which Saturday, but we do have, since we mentioned Vivian Banks before, we have Lucy Arnaz going to be joining us in the neighborhood. Her husband, Larry Luckenbill, was on the program about 2-3 years ago. Now we finally get Lucy in the neighborhood with us. So yeah, you just want to be here on Saturday mornings or whenever you can in our archives to see all the stuff that we do here in the neighborhood. Best way to find out, of course, check the website davesgoneby.com and this Facebook page. Well, it is almost 12:30 in the afternoon on this Saturday, August 24th, 2019. Gonna wrap up our 710th edition of Dave's Gone By. It just remains for me to thank so many of you for tuning in, for all the nice things that you post on Facebook throughout the week, for the messages that I get, the emails I get. It really makes a huge difference when I know that there are people out there listening, enjoying the show, spreading the love and the madness. And so I'm going to wish you a very happy weekend. It's going to be nicer and a bit cooler here in New York, thank goodness, because it couldn't have gotten any hotter after a while. Let's hear, we mentioned Rabbi Saul was talking to David BROZ earlier about his friendship with, what's his name, with Townes Van Zandt. And I believe this is BROZ's version of a Van Zandt song. I might be confusing it with another one. But even so, here's David BROZ doing Silver Dollar. So I hope listening to this show has paid off for all of you. And see you next week. Gone by.
The night grew cold, the moon shone blue. When I hit the broad highway, the winds of change turned strong and strange.
Strong and strange. Could any words more succinctly describe Dave's Gone By, right? Anyway, thanks for not being strangers. Thanks for tuning in every week. And let's say one last hello to our brand new Potato, his debut. Hello, thank you so much. Yeah, what a beautiful face. I would bring our dog up. Our dog didn't do a cameo today because he was sleeping mostly through the show, but Potato wasn't. He was wide awake and eating his ketchup and thanking all of you for being in the neighborhood and gone by.